Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Welcome to one of my Cornwall series and also one of my railway series. Slightly different railway series. This one we're not looking at a heritage line or a new station or a lost railway walk, but we're looking to show you some of the infrastructure that's about to disappear in a few days' time, right here from the Cornwall main line. I'm here in the lovely Cornish town of Lostwithiel, which sits just there on the River Foy, which is almost in like a state of flood at the moment. We're going to make our way over there in between the rain showers to have a look at some of the remains of the infrastructure that dates back, well, some of it possibly over 150 years, and that's about to disappear forever. Now, this is the medieval bridge over the River Foy here, known as Lostwithiel Bridge. Lostwithiel was founded by the Normans in, 1000 and something, but the bridge here at Lostwithiel was first mentioned in 1280. Though it's been rebuilt many times since, mainly around the 15th century. It also narrowly escaped being blown up in 1644 during the English Civil War. Thankfully, that didn't happen and the bridge survives. So here we are at the station of Lostwithiel on the Cornish main line, Truro to the right and back to Plymouth over the border on the left. Now, one of the things that's about to disappear, I'm afraid, is that signal box, but it's not the signal box. This is Lostwithiel level crossing. Got a minor road here, but because of the increase in frequency of trains, the barriers are often down for 18 minutes for each hour. There's also a loop off to the right there for the China clay trains. I don't like standing in the middle of the level crossing, but one of the items you can see there is about to disappear. Yeah, sadly, it's the semaphores. I'll tell you something about semaphores as we continue on our journey today. Now we can already see here that work is about to take place. This platform here, though it has a braille layer on it, hasn't been used for some time. In fact, this is where the trains down to Foy would have once left from. But you can see all the construction quattro diggers there, ready for the takeover of the line. I think it starts next Tuesday next week. I'm actually recording this on the Thursday. I'll put in the exact dates below. So I think it actually goes on for nearly 2 weeks, a blockade on the Cornish main line to change the signalling here. Now, some of the infrastructure is already in place. On the right of the screen there, covered in black plastic with grey crosses through it, is the new electronic signals which will replace the semaphores here. You can see the signals there about to go. LL57, that one's numbered, Lostwithiel. And semaphores started around the 1850s, but originally when they started there was no uniform standard. And because we're here in the western region of Network Rail, they're following the old GWR standard, which means that these semaphores are what are known as lower quadrant. So at the moment these signals are in the on position. In other words, it's a signal at danger, so trains can continue down the main line towards Truro and Penzance. And when the driver gets the go ahead, the signal will drop down. I can't remember the exact diagram. I think it's 45 degrees down in a downwards direction, hence the term lower quadrant. And I do believe that the smaller one on the left is for the clay trains going down the Foy line. But yes, sadly, very, very soon, the signal will be no more. You might be able to just make out further down there. The level crossing gates have now closed, and the lower quadrant, you can just see, make that out there, that has dropped to enable the next train to go through in the up direction, up towards Plymouth and Paddington, to pass through here on the main line. And although this train is a Hitachi IET, it's actually a local service just come from Penzance, heading towards Plymouth. There's now a frequency of a train every 30 minutes in each direction, so in effect a train every 15 minutes here, but not all of them stop here at Lostwithiel. Now, after the Semaphores were established in 1850, there was no agreed standard, and it wasn't until what's known as the grouping of the four main companies coming together, GWR obviously being one of those, SR, Southern Railway should I say, being the other, they then started to agree a standard, and that started to happen, transition that in 1926, of 1923 should I say, and it was completed around about 1926. As I say though, in the western region of Network Rail, what is now Network Rail, previously obviously GWR, and after that the western region of BR, British Railways, it's always been a little bit different. So in the other regions across the UK, they use upper quadrants, so the signal actually goes upwards to give you the clear, or off should I say, in terms of road technology or terminology, that would be a green signal at a traffic light. But here, in the Western, the Great Western, we use lower quadrants, but soon to be no more. There are some other places on the Cornish main line that also have semaphores: Liskeard, Parr, St Earth and Truro. The ones at Liskeard will be staying for the time being because the box there controls the Loo branch line. I do believe also the ones at St Earth will be staying for the moment, and because that is the line to St Ives, but I think at some point that will also be replaced. So during the blockade over the next couple of weeks, the ones that will be removed will be the ones here at Lostwithiel, the ones at Parr for the Newquay line, I'll talk about that in a bit as well, and also the ones at Truro. Now I'm actually here in Cornwall for a couple of days, visiting my daughter again. We'll be making a couple of other videos, so I'm hoping to get some photographs of the ones at Parr and Truro, and they'll either be done as a short bite video after this one, or I'll add the photographs in at the end of this video so you can see what those look like as well. Now, plans to modernise the signal here on the Cornish main line were formulated originally back in BR days in the 1980s, but they didn't come to anything. They were going to outsource it to another company, but because it was nationalised, it just didn't happen. In 2019, there was a lump sum of money, some from the government, some from Cornwall Council and some from the EU, to actually improve the block sections and expand those and improve some of the infrastructure. And after that work was done, it enabled the increase of the trains here on the main line. Previously, you only could get one train an hour if you were either leaving Penzance or Plymouth, and now, because of those improvements, it's every half an hour. The improvements here should improve reliability of the whole of the signals, and also improve yet again the potential to increase the frequency of trains. And one of the reasons for that is the Cornwall Metro project, or the Cornish Metro project, because they want to run through trains from the North Cornwall town of Newquay on the Atlantic coast right through to the town of Falmouth via Truro. Normally you have to change trains at Parr, and the service on the Newquay branch is only, well, there's only about 6 or 7 trains a day. It used to be about 4 trains a day when I was at RAF St Morgan and back in the 1980s. So that would be great. So you have a train leaving Newquay every hour towards Truro and Falmouth without having the need to change on the Cornish main line. But in order for that to happen, the signalling needs to improve. Hence what's happening here over the next couple of weeks. But it is rather sad to see the end of the semaphores after 150 plus years of history here in Cornwall. They will still survive, as I say, at Liskeard and St Earth for a little bit longer, but how much longer? Well, who knows? And there's also little pockets of them in Worcestershire, not far from where I live, but all around Worcester Shrub Hill. Junction there at Droitwich Span, they still have semaphores, but again, I'm sure there'll be plans to replace those at some point as well. Now, due to the frequency of the trains here, it's caused a problem at the level crossing because, as I say, the barriers are down for probably about a third of the time each hour that it's going. So sometimes there's long waits, both for passengers, pedestrians and people driving and cycling, etc. So they have requested to put in a footbridge. There's a problem with that. It went out to tender and the design was done, but unfortunately the design has failed safety tests, so they can't actually use the design even though the money's been allocated for that particular design. It's all about strange, so it has been delayed indefinitely, unfortunately, but hopefully at some point there will be a footbridge here to relieve the problems, particularly if you're a pedestrian wanting to cross over the main line when there are trains going through on the Cornish main line. On this project to replace these semaphores and upgrade the signalling, Network Rail are working with a company called Siemens, and an electronics company. They do all the track circuitry. In fact, what will happen with this signal box gone here from Lostwithiel, the signals will actually be controlled from a central or regional control centre in Exeter. There'll be a bay of 4 large monitors which will control the whole of the Cornish main line. So you can see there the main semaphore arm has just dropped, and that means that the next train heading towards Penzance has got the off or the green to go, if you like. So as the train approaches and the light decreases here at Lostwithiel, that's it for this one in my Cornwall and Railway series, and it's goodbye to the semaphores. I'll link to either the photographs at Truro and Par either at the end of this video or signpost them to a little short bite which will be coming up here on the channel on West Country Wanderings. Thanks very much for watching today. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on West Country Wanderings again very, very soon. All the best for now. Cheers. Bye-bye.